Greetings, Mavericks and new viewers. Tonight, direct and live from the Maverick News Network World Studios. This is Maverick News with Rick Walker.
Good evening, everyone. Another night of weird technical things going on here. It's very strange. So I hope everyone is seeing us on the Rumble channels. Looks like we're okay there. I hope it's running. Let me know in the chat if you're not seeing. You can't. You wouldn't be able to tell me because you wouldn't be able to see me. I think we're okay. I had to reset everything as the show is going live. There we are. Yeah, it's running. I see it. Okay. So we're in good shape, and we have a lot to talk about tonight. We're going to go live in a moment to McGill University again with the one, the only Dragon, who is on scene, ready to take us back into the encampment there, where the protesters, the pro-Palestine protesters, continue their demonstration. We are going to talk about Justin Bieber and his wife. They're having a Bieber baby. I don't normally talk about celebrity stuff like that, but we'll make a little bit of an exception tonight. We are also going to talk about Joe Biden, who had two public relations blunders in one interview, in my opinion. I'll show you what I mean later in the broadcast. The Chevy Malibu, say goodbye, an icon of an icon. Chevy Malibu, an icon unto itself and part of the Chevrolet brand, which is also a cultural, economic, and automotive icon for America. And the EV automotive market continues to slide, even for the really rich people out there who like to buy super powerful, super high performance hypercars. We'll explain why everything seems to be falling apart, or at least not coming together the way that the politicians are and the globalists have been hoping. Victory Day celebrations, parade, and Vladimir Putin's speech, all of that and more coming up right here on the Maverick News Channel. Don't go away. We'll come back on the other side with Dragon.
Maverick News. The world is watching. Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, Maverick News. Defending free speech, Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow. it may be too late. Too late. Too late. Too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Okay, I'm back, and let's bring the man of the moment back in. Live from McGill University. Here he is. Dragon. Hello, sir. How are you?
Good evening, Mavericks. How are you tonight?
It's great to have you back. And wow, you are looking very dapper in your Maverick News hoodie.
In gray
Yes.
that I had. Beautiful, actually, and very comfy, warm, and I feel good.
Yeah, you look good, man, and professional, and that's great. And thank you to everybody who has donated to make
Indeed.
this
I will
operation.
thanks everyone.
Yeah. So great thank you to everybody for supporting the channel and supporting Dragon, who is out there. It looks like it's a fairly nice day. Is it misty or raining at all today? Looks dry.
Yeah, it looked dry. Basically, we had a few clouds today, but nothing major. No rain. No. It's just coldish. I will add that it's cold.
Yeah.
For
And
a
so because you have fair weather, you
Hey,
had
Lay.
some rain there earlier this week. But what's going on with the crowd? Bigger, smaller?
a little bit bigger, I would probably count roughly 200 people already are surrounding the encampment. So, as you can see, there's a few people around here, and
I
it's
see.
pretty crowded.
Yes. So you've had some challenges getting people to speak to you. As you've been down there doing the work this week, covering the encampment, the protest. Last night we saw some of the protesters line up with umbrellas, black umbrellas, and sort of push you back right off the main campus area out
Yeah.
into an area behind a rope, which was
Yeah, that was
frustrating.
actually behind right there on the hill. So, yeah, and it was muddy also. So basically, I was on a pretty slippery slope, I will call that.
Right. So what is happening there tonight? Are you still outside that rope? Have you tried to go in? Are you being confronted? What's happening?
Actually, there's no confrontation. I'm pretty much I'm just standing on the square. So right now, I'm kind of putting myself away from this part, but I'm not fearing to go behind the ropes and see what's going on behind the. I mean, I'm not behind their encampment. So basically, it's a totally legal turf.
Sure. So why don't you walk around there a little bit, Dragon, and give us some idea of what things look like with the camera, and just do whatever you're comfortable with and whatever you feel is safe.
Well, as you can see, the encampment is kind of animated. There's more animation around this part. Actually, there's a little activity. I don't know exactly what's going on there, but they have some cardboard of all the colors of the Palestinian flag, basically, and displaying some. I don't know exactly what they are doing, but shall be fun to look to watch probably.
Okay. And so these
And they-
students walking around in the area where you're at right now, they're not actually protesters, right? They're sort of outside the protest zone. Am I reading that situation correctly?
Yeah, no, there's few students, but most of the people that I see are probably protest supporters. So it's hard to tell, actually.
Yes, yeah. Yeah. Are they restricting access to other people that you have seen? Or was it just
No.
just journalists?
No, I've seen no restriction at all. If it's not to not cross that barrier, so the blue barrier behind. So if I'm not getting too close from there, I might just not get in trouble.
Yes, well, I mean, you have every legal right to be there and to do what you're doing. You said you spoke to police who are in the area earlier. What did they have to say to you?
Actually, they have told me that they are not. Yes?
Ask you to get off the lawn, please.
Why?
Because we don't want you to be on the lawn.
Actually, I'm from the press, so I have all the rights to be here.
You can have rights all you want, but we don't want you on the lawn.
Why?
Well, maybe.
I don't think that you have the best interests of the students at heart.
Sorry?
I don't think you have the best interests of the students at heart.
Why is that?
Do you have the best interests of the students at heart?
I
Ask
do
him what
actually.
authority he has.
What authority you have to ask me to be off the lawn?
Authority that I'm telling you to get off the lawn.
Okay, because actually I'm from the press and I'm a free speech advocate. So.
Great. Well, you can be a free speech advocate on the pavement, please.
Or
Well, why don't I
which
ask
reason?
him what right he has that's more than yours?
What right? What right you have more than I
I'm
have?
just telling you to get off. I'm not the cops. I'm just telling you to get out of here.
Yeah, so
Okay.
who are you?
Please get out of here.
You
So
have
who
no
are
right.
you for those kind of right? You know, I'm just a
I'm not-
citizen. You know, I'm a Montrealer.
There's
As
many,
you?
Listen, there are many places that you can't go in as a citizen. You can't go into a professor's office. You can't go into an elementary school. You can't go into someone's house.
Even with a press,
You're not
media.
really a journalist, then, are you?
Well, Rick, if you can, well,
Yes.
You
What
want- do you
what
want to
under what authority do
journalism career you have?
look, Rick is right there. He can tell you actually that I'm from the press, and actually I got my credit. So,
Okay, well, we don't want you on the lawn, so please get on the pavement.
all right. Please don't. If you hit me again, thank you. So basically, this guy is being pretty aggressive again.
Yes. He has no right. He has no
It's a new
right
one.
to tell you to get
No.
off the lawn. None. Zero authority.
And actually, I will fight for my right. Well, fight, not fight, as fighting, but I will stand for my right as a citizen, and I will not let myself being subject to.
So what he's doing is illegal.
Yep, it's pretty illegal what he's doing. Yep, what you're doing is illegal.
And violating your rights.
Yep, because actually what you're doing is violating the rights of speech of people, and also the right of press. And the right of press is also a right of speech and expression. So basically, you're being aggressive, and you are being against my right. This is basically my constitutional right as a Canadian citizen. Well, we already had what we call the Bills of Rights of Canadian, which is infringing my right now.
Yes, and what they've done is they've illegally seized property, and they're refusing to give you access to a public space.
Exactly. Seizing property, which is basically public's. Any comment about that? I'm
So
really...
so this is not a protest, it is an illegal occupation.
Yeah, I would call that right now illegal occupation myself too. I'm pretty much not opinionated normally, but I will call that pretty much what it is.
The only authority that he has is the authority of a mob behind him and the threat of potential violence to act as a deterrent to keep you off the property.
Yeah, that's what I think. Well, we see a lot of what's going on right here, right now. And, this is blatant. This is kind of sad because, we were in the most, I would call...
Is that
liberal,
woman behind... Dragon, that woman behind you, is she following you? That woman behind you in the coat right there?
Yeah, actually, she's my she's my partner in crime.
Okay,
So
good. All right. So you know who that is. I couldn't really see who it was. I was just worried about you.
yeah. So yeah, I mean, basically my right has been infringed, and I mean, what can I say, right? We're not living in Canada anymore. It's
Not
kind of
there
sad.
because they've taken over that area, and they're not. You have no rights there.
No.
So God help us all if they end up in charge.
Hmm. I mean, normally, you know me. I'm not opinionated. I come unbiased, and I do as I can. Unbiased. Pretty much, trying not to push anything. But right now, they are pushing their own. They are pushing their own agenda, and
Well,
I
they're and
will.
they're pushing people around is what they're doing, like a bunch of bullies.
Point intended. Yeah.
It's hard to have any empathy for them or their cause when they treat people like that. When they treat someone like yourself like that, who is really
Well,
there to help them tell their story, you're offering to give them a platform and speak their piece and share their view and their story. And all they've done
exactly.
is treat you in a very unfair manner.
I would be glad to have someone to, you know, uh, share some story of where they are from, what happened to them, why they are, supporting this event. But nobody is willing to do anything about it, and they pretty much show not much of a respect. It's on Canadian.
It certainly is.
Well, what
All
can I tell
dragon.
you, bro?
Yeah.
But it's a beautiful day. I will enjoy the sun.
Yeah. Well, good job there, and you did a good job just standing up for yourself, standing up for other Canadians, for freedom, freedom of speech, freedom of movement, for constitutional rights, and you did it in a respectful and peaceful manner.
Thank you, sir.
And I just applaud you.
Well,
That's
it's not always easy because I could tell with his voice trembling that he was kind of
yeah.
losing patience and getting aggressive. So that's kind of, well,
Yeah.
Again, when you're walking forward, the front line.
so he has all the right to ask anything, but this was probably out of the line. So, I mean,
Well,
how many students are here, right? I mean, they are looking much like students for sure, but at the same time, right, we can ask ourselves the question, who are we standing
Wow.
for?
Shameful.
Yeah.
Absolutely shameful. I don't think it helps their cause, honestly, and I think that I think what they're doing is
No,
just unacceptable.
not at all. And if they were standing really for their rights, they will stand for the right of freedom of press and expression.
Yes.
So,
Well, any other thoughts there, or any other observations? Are they giving speeches down there?
yeah, well,
Yeah.
actually, it's not really a speech. It's more like an activity that they are doing. And I'm not even sure what it is because nobody's explaining nothing. So,
Yeah.
so
And
it's kind of, what can I do? I cannot even explain anything to you because they are lacking openness. This
yes.
this is blatant, man. But well, I'm glad to be there anyway and do what I can.
Well, this is part of the story. Their lack of transparency, their lack of inclusiveness, if you will, right?
Right? Good
Very
point.
exclusionary
Yes.
and
I
very
feel
authoritarian.
authoritarian. Yeah, this is a good way to put it. So we see where the roots come, and well, we know it's probably not what we would have wished for, but we can probably say it's a cultural thing. Maybe it's sad because we know we are trying as much as we can to be open and not even having any type of I don't know, man. We're not
Yeah.
judging anyone, right? We're
Well,
just here to do our job and
yeah,
do right
and
thing.
And as much as we're trying not to judge people, of course, we are assessing things. And when they act like that, when they restrict your access, when they prevent you from setting foot on the grass of an open public space, what it's just self-evident what it is. It's illegal. It's authoritarian, and it's heavy-handed. It's the force of a mob preventing you from doing your job.
Yes. Yeah, it's pretty much becoming a mob. And the other thing is that the encampment, I would say, has enlarged since last night. So it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
It's like, are they taking more turf? Are they occupying the place? It's a good question now.
Were you able to see the faces of the people who came up to you like that at all? Could you tell, were they Palestinian? Were they from
No.
some other? No.
Actually, they are very Canadian.
When you say Canadian, you mean very white?
Caucasian,
Caucasian,
casual
Yeah.
casual guy with a plain English. So
Mm-hmm.
probably a little bit Frenchy because of his accent. But
Right.
what can I tell?
Can you just? Is it safe? Can you just turn the camera around so we can see the encampment behind you there instead? Yeah, there you go. Excellent.
Actually, you can probably see the guy speaking with the lady there. That was the guy that actually was showing me the umbrella
Yeah.
right there. So,
Huh.
so this is what it is. So, is it Germany 1930s again? No, I hope not.
It's Canada.
Mhm.
May 9th, 2024. That's what it is. Well,
How sad is that?
well, Dragon, with that, probably time to wrap things up there for tonight at McGill University in Montreal. I'll just throw it over to you for a few final thoughts before we sign off with you.
Well, you can follow me on Twitter. It's the One Rising Dragon on Twitter. Same with the YouTubes. And Dragon on Facebook now. So, Mavericks, I will ask you to have a good evening. Take care. And show respect to each other's.
Yes, and you stay safe out there, sir. Thank you,
I will.
Dragon. Thank you. Really appreciate this, as always.
Dragon signing out.
Dragon doing a great job out there. Very, very tough job. And very disappointing to get that kind of reception again tonight. The question is, what are they afraid of? No reason for it. Not really. They would be treated very fairly, but they just choose to push away.
Maverick News. Fighting for freedom.
The information war is raging. Truth without integrity is worth nothing. Maverick News. Because those who have power and those who seek it must be held accountable.
The world is watching.
Join our family of truth seekers. Donate today and add your voice to the chorus of Maverick Knights. Donate at maverickdonations.com. Truth. Integrity. It's the Maverick way. Maverick News. The world is watching.
All right, we're back. You know, the protests are fading a little bit. And when I say that, I mean they're not getting as much coverage as they were. They're cycling out of the news just a bit. So the attention is waning. And as I've been watching interviews by other live streamers out there and, you know, even speaking to people who some say, you know, they're supporters of the demonstrations and so on, it's very evident to me that a lot of the people involved are there because they just don't want to see people killed. They want the fighting to stop, the war to end. They don't like seeing children die. Totally understandable. But beyond that, they often don't have any kind of understanding at all about what the real issues are surrounding the protest, or where it's going, or where these demonstrations are ultimately likely to lead. But we'll continue to cover all of this. And I'm just looking in the chat here a little bit. All right, let's move on to some other news for tonight. I'll tell you, that was a total public relations disaster, honestly, in my view, for those demonstrators. Really stupid move. It diminishes public support for them. If they were more open and kind and welcoming, and if they would just speak to people, you might find you'd make some more friends. But this hard line, it's a public relations disaster. If not now, it's coming. People only put up with that for so long. I'll tell you who else had a public relations disaster within the last day. Joe Biden. Yeah. He, you know, here's a guy who is withholding military aid now to Israel, I would say to win an election, because he is pausing shipments of, or says he will pause shipments of artillery shells and other munitions, to certain munitions, to Israel if they go in and conduct a military operation in Rafah. You know, the irony in this is that it was exactly that kind of action that got Donald Trump impeached when he was accused of withholding military aid to an ally. Now Biden's doing exactly that, and it doesn't look like there's any effort on the horizon to impeach him for that. But that being said, when he talks about this, it just, and he did to CNN. This is CNN's Aaron Burnett interviewing him, and Biden. I mean, you just couldn't have a worse a worse PR representative than this guy. Let's take a look at this clip.
I want to ask you about something happening as we sit here and speak, and that, of course, is Israel is striking Rafah. I know that you have paused, Mr. President, shipments of 2,000-pound U.S. bombs to Israel due to concern that they could be used in any offensive on Rafah. Have those bombs, those powerful 2,000-pound bombs, been used to kill civilians in Gaza?
Civilians have been killed in Gaza as a consequence of those bombs and other ways in which they go after population centers. And I made it clear that if they go into Rafah, they haven't gone into Rafah yet. If they go into Rafah, I'm not supplying the weapons that have been used historically to deal with Rafah, to deal with the cities, to deal with that problem. We're going to continue to make sure Israel is secure in terms of Iron Dome and their ability to respond to attacks like came out of the Middle East recently. But it's just wrong. We're not going to supply the weapons and the artillery shells used that have been used.
Artillery shells as well.
Yeah, artillery shells.
So, just to understand what they're doing right now in Rafah, is that not going into Rafah as you define it yet?
They haven't gone into the population centers. What they did is right on the border, and it's causing problems with right now in terms of with Egypt, which I've worked very hard to make sure we have a relationship and help. But I've made it clear to Bibi and the War Cabinet, they're not going to get our support if in fact they go in these population centers.
Wow. He just bumbles his way through it. His words not chosen carefully at all. That was completely botched. I don't know if you can take it at face value and say that that's truth, maybe. I would say it's a PR disaster. And yeah, I think there is just blatant hardcore truth in there. It's a war, and even in war, when you're dealing with, you're still dealing with public relations, and the language that he chose. I just couldn't ever see, Admiral Kirby or Jake Sullivan or even Donald Trump, with all of his faux pas, bumbling through something like that in such in an apt manner. My God, what a disaster. It's like, why is that guy in that position? How did that happen? If you were in the business of PR, if you were a PR representative for a company and you put in that kind of performance, you would get fired immediately. Just saying. That's just like, did he intentionally try to shoot himself in the head politically? Certainly sounded like it. What? That's the President of the United States. Oh my. That's how you lose the war. Right there. Just put that guy in charge. What are we going to do if we ever have to defend the country? Man alive, I'll tell you. Here, check this out. This is a reaction to that from Fox News now. Here's Jesse Waters. I'll run this clip just to give you a taste of the conservative side and how they're viewing what you just watched.
Fox News alert. Joe Biden's currently withholding military aid to our ally Israel in the middle of a war against Hamas because of political pressure from radical students. Right now, Israel's on the cusp of going into Rafah in southern Gaza, the final battle of the war. Hamas is entrenched among the Palestinian civilian population, has nowhere else to go, and still refuses to return hostages or agree to a ceasefire. And just moments ago on CNN, Joe Biden threw the protesters a bone, declaring that Israel would never receive these American weapons if aid went into Rafah. Watch.
I made it clear that if they go into Rafah, they haven't gone into Rafah yet. If they go into Rafah, I'm not supplying the weapons that have been used historically to deal with Rafah, to deal with the cities, to deal with that problem. It's just wrong. We're not going to supply the weapons and the artillery shells used that have been used.
Artillery shells as well.
Yeah, artillery shells.
The weapons Biden's withholding have already been approved by Congress and are precision munitions, exactly what Israel needs to launch smart strikes against Hamas targets with as little collateral damage as possible. This is exactly the opposite of what Biden declared Israel's mission should be, remember?
Do you believe that Hamas must be eliminated entirely?
Yes, I do.
It's now clear that President Joe Biden's withholding military aid from an ally to help win an election. It's the exact same thing Democrats accused Trump of doing and impeached him for.
See, Biden's problem is that he's barely able to function. He's in mental decline. and he's trying to play both sides against each other. He's trying to say that his support for Israel is ironclad while still trying to make it look like he supports the Palestinian side because he wants all those Muslim votes up in Michigan. And he's into these interviews and he doesn't know whether he's coming or going. He's all twisted around. He has no moral compass. He has picked a side, and the side that he's picked is his own. That's the problem. He doesn't give a darn, from what I'm hearing, about Israel, and he doesn't care about the Palestinians. And he sure as heck doesn't seem to be very focused on eradicating Hamas the way that he said it had to be eliminated. He's just focused on himself and getting reelected. That is the bottom line right there. You know what they call that? Selfish.
Maverick News. The world is watching.
As I sit here thinking about what Dragon just went through, the oppressed versus the oppressor narrative is in full play globally because of this conflict in Gaza, and it is on full display at McGill University. And yet, isn't it funny how those who claim to have no power are the ones who are in charge of seized land that doesn't belong to them, preventing access to the public? Who's really in charge? Who really has the power? Let's ask Greta Thunberg, who has been out protesting.
I think they should be everywhere, and once again, young people are leading the way, showing the world how we should react to this.
Well, if that's the way that we're supposed to react, I'm not in favor of it. That scares me. I've seen too much of it over the years at too many protests, and it is ramping up, and I don't like it. That's because I really do believe in freedom. Freedom for everyone. There's no need for that. I think that shows you as well what Greta Thunberg is really all about, my opinion. Let me see make sure we have all the bases covered. Well, let's go back to Biden. Not only did he bumble his way through all the questions about aid to Israel and munitions and collateral damage, he's also made a fool of himself on the economic front in that same interview with Burnett on CNN. Here he is, again, just bumbling his way through here. Listen to this. She really just cleans his clock with just straight up facts and questions.
When you talk about the economy, of course, it is by far the most important issue for voters. It's also true right now, Mr. President, that voters by a wide margin trust Trump more on the economy. They say that in polls. And part of the reason for that may be the numbers. And you're aware of many of these, of course. The cost of buying a home in the United States is double what it was when you look at your monthly costs from before the pandemic. Real income, when you account for inflation, is actually down since you took office. Economic growth last week, far short of expectations. Consumer confidence, maybe no surprise, is near a 2-year low. With less than 6 months to go to Election Day, are you worried that you're running out of time to turn that around?
We've already turned it around. Look at the Michigan survey. For 65% of the American people think they're in good shape economically. They think the nation's not in good shape, but they're personally in good shape. The polling data has been wrong all along. You know, how many, you guys do a poll at CNN, how many folks you have to call to get one response? The idea that we're in a situation where things are so bad, the folks that, I mean, we've created more jobs. We're in a situation where people have access to good paying jobs. And the last I saw, the combination of the inflation, the cost of inflation, all those things, that's really worrisome to people with good reason. That's why I'm working very hard to bring the cost of rentals down, to increase the number of homes that are available. Let me say it this way. When I started this administration, people were saying there's going to be a collapse in the economy. We have the strongest economy in the world. Let me say it again, in the world.
Although GDP last week was far short of expectations.
Oh, it wasn't. Look, GDP is still growing. Look at the response of the markets. Overwhelmingly positive. Overwhelmingly positive. And one of the reasons why people feel good about it not being as strong as it was before is they believe that the Fed's going to respond.
They hope they're going to get a rate cut.
Yeah. Well, but I mean, no president's had the run we've had in terms of creating jobs and bringing down inflation. It was 9% when I came to office. 9%. But look, people have a right to be concerned. Ordinary people, the idea that you bounce a check and you get a $30 fee for bouncing the check, I changed that. You can't charge more than $8 for that. Or your credit card, your late payment, $35. I mean, there's corporate greed going on out there, and it's got to be dealt with.
Yeah, so he blames it on corporate greed instead of taking responsibility for his economic policies, which have led to massive inflation. It's the same story up here in Canada under Justin Trudeau. Way too much money printing, way too much inflation, way too much government spending, so much debt that we'll probably never be able to pay it off. So just blame it on the corporations. They get the subsidies. That's like paying them to agree to take it on the chin. And then when they tax the corporations to make it look like they're actually doing something about it, they just hand it back to them in subsidies and in handouts. We're seeing it here in Canada as well with the NDP in particular, the New Democratic Party, which is propping up the Trudeau Liberals, blaming inflation on corporate greed. That is not what causes inflation. Inflation is caused by too much money printing. And so the NDP here is talking about grocery store prices. We're seeing a month-long campaign encouraging people to boycott Loblaw stores, which is, I think, the country's largest grocery store chain because of rising prices in the stores, accusing them of price gouging. I'll be taking a trip to a grocery store maybe tomorrow. Maybe we'll go shopping together and take a look at some of the prices and see where things are at and find out if the boycott is actually working. I don't think it is. People still need to eat. And as much as the big grocery store chains are trying to maximize profits, they're still subject to market forces and costs, rising costs like everybody else. They can't just wave a magic wand and just make prices suddenly decline. If the cost of gasoline and diesel fuel rises because Trudeau imposes a carbon tax, that shows up in the price of everything you buy at the grocery store. It's really just that simple. Rising costs mean rising costs. It's a chain reaction, and it goes all the way down the line and affects you right in the pocketbook when you go to check out at the Loblaw stores. But it's an effective scapegoat for politicians who don't want to take responsibility for their failed policies. Joe Biden, Justin Trudeau, two peas in a pod. An inflationary pod. So, I'm going to show you something funny from the Victory Day parade over in Russia. But before we show you the funny stuff, we'll show you the serious stuff. So, huge crowds, very patriotic. A real contrast, I would say, this public display of military might over in Russia. Russians take a lot of pride in Victory Day parades and Victory Day period, celebrating or marking or acknowledging the defeat of Nazism in World War II. Millions of Russians died defending their country in World War II. Here's what it looked like. Very crisp. And when they do these displays, man, they put a lot into the video production. Isn't that gorgeous videography, the way they do this? Really, really awesome. High-end production. They understand the value of public relations over there. They understand the importance of it, I think more so than the United States and even other NATO countries do. Image. It's important because this kind of display generates confidence in the public, in their public institutions, in their military, in their government. And there he is, Vladimir Putin. It's a big deal. This isn't just for the people of Russia either, make no mistake. This is a display for the world, for NATO, for the West. This is to show their adversaries that they are strong. This is a show of military force, coordination. And it's a display to show the world that they have the public support behind them still. It's public relations. It's kind of propaganda, but it's also a respectful thing because it is a day of remembrance. I think when I look at this and then I think of how we treat Remembrance Day here in Canada, our Remembrance Day in November, aside from the event in Ottawa, generally they're fairly small affairs. They're not anything on this scale in our country. And they always say, lest we forget, and yet I know that people are forgetting. With each passing year, memories fade, and that's because today's generations really have no first-hand recollection of anything that happened in World War II. It was certainly before my time, long before I was born. So we have to rely on the history books and accounts from people who were maybe still alive during that time. Not too many people left who were alive during World War II. Very little time left. So that's the way it was during the Victory Day parade in Russia. We have a little bit of Vladimir Putin's speech here, I think, that we can share with you. So many tabs open, I just have to pick the right one. Let's get to Putin's speech, shall we? Where did you go? Not there, not there, not there. I had him queued up for you, folks. Let me take a real quick break. We'll come back. I'll have to find him again. Somehow we've lost Vladimir Putin, but don't worry, I'll find him on the other side.
Feel the vibrations. Our quest continues. The truth is out there. We are Mavericks.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, Maverick News. Defending free speech, free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Okay, we have it. Here's Vladimir Putin at the Victory Day parade.
Citizens of Russia, dear veterans, comrade soldiers and sailors, sergeants and warrant officers, midshipmen and sergeant majors, comrade officers, generals and admirals, soldiers and commanders participating in the special military operation. Happy Victory Day. This is the most important, the truly popular and sacred day when we honor our fathers and grandfathers who fought to protect our land and to crush the scourge of Nazism and liberated the peoples of Europe and achieved the peak of military and labor glory. We see attempts to distort the truth. It is inconvenient to those who have grown used to building new colonial policies. They honor those who fought alongside Nazism. They erect monuments to those complicit with Hitler, and they want to raise the memory of the great feats of our forefathers. This revanchism and this attempt to whitewash the crimes of Nazism is just part of the Western policy aimed to ignite new regional conflicts, to stoke religious and ethnic hatred, to stifle independent centers of global development. We reject the claims of any state or alliance to exclusivity. We know the consequences of such limitless ambition. Russia will do everything in its power to prevent this, but we will never allow anyone to threaten us. Our strategic forces are always ready. The West wants to forget the lessons of the Second World War, but we remember how the fate of humankind was decided in the battles of Moscow, Leningrad, Rzhev, Stalingrad, Kursk and Kharkov, Minsk, Smolensk and Kiev. In dire battles from Murmansk and the Caucasus to Crimea. The hardest, longest years of the Great Patriotic War. The fighters of the Soviet Union fought against Nazism almost alone, while the Wehrmacht was supported by all of Europe. Russia and never tried to diminish the role of the Allies and the Second Front. We honor all of those who fell while fighting Hitler, those who were part of the resistance, the courage of the people of China who fought against the militarist aggression of Japan. And we will always remember and we'll never forget our common struggle and the inspiring traditions that we had together. Comrades, Russia is now going through a historic point. Its fate, its future depends on every single one of us. And today, on this Victory Day, we recognize this especially clearly. And we honor the generation of heroes, and we accept their tradition of friendship and fortitude, of being confident in yourself and in your country, and love your motherland sincerely. We honor the veterans of the Special Military Operation. All of those who are fighting along the contact line are our heroes. We bow down to their courage and self-sacrifice. Russia is united to support you. Our veterans believe in you. They feel part of your fate. We are one people, and this is a generation of heroes. We bow down before all of those who sacrificed their lives for the victory in the Great Patriotic War, and we honor their memory, their sons, their wives, their brothers and sisters, all their families and friends. We bow down to the veterans of the Great Patriotic War who have left this world, as well as the civilians who suffered and died as a result of the atrocious crimes of the Nazis, and those who have died fighting for our country. A minute of silence.
We will be right back.
Maverick News. Fighting for freedom.
And I am back. Back in Canada, where Windsor Police, Windsor, Ontario, Canada, have issued a media release. This is an investigation into underage prostitution. It is actually a form of child trafficking. Here's the release. The Windsor Police Service, WPS, and Ontario Provincial Police have arrested 4 men during an undercover operation targeting individuals seeking sex with underage girls. Last month, members of the WPS Morality Unit and OPP Intelligence-led Joint Forces Strategy Anti-Human Trafficking Unit teamed up to conduct an undercover prostitution operation in Windsor. The officers used a popular website to communicate with suspects, attempting to offer money to an underage girl in exchange for sexual acts. In online conversations, the suspects negotiated a specific price with an undercover officer posing as a 16-year-old girl and then agreed to meet at a location to engage in sexual activities. When the suspects arrived at the designated meeting spot, they were promptly arrested by police. The following individuals have each been charged with obtaining sexual services from a person under 18 years of age. Wissam Sharif, 28, of Windsor, Ontario. Stephen Stephen Memmer, 59 years old, no fixed address. James Pernell, 46 years old, Essex, Ontario, Canada, and Jin Wen Yang, 61, also of Windsor, Ontario. Police have a quote here from Inspector David DeLuca, who he says, "Protecting our children from exploitation is of paramount importance. Through this joint operation, we successfully targeted individuals who not only solicited youth online, but were prepared to move forward and commit those acts." They're asking anyone who may have more information about that to call Crime Stoppers or call directly into the Windsor Police Service or Ontario Provincial Police. So there's that. Back to this issue, though, of Gaza in Regina, Saskatchewan, Canada. The cenotaph in their downtown area has been vandalized, defaced, with anti-Semitic, anti-Jewish graffiti. Here's a report on that with an image. As you can see, they sent a crew out there today to start to remove the graffiti. There's been a string of these graffiti incidents throughout the downtown in Regina, Saskatchewan. Some of the vandalism includes anti-Semitic messages, and some reference directly the conflict in Gaza. Regina police say the content of the graffiti does not change the basis of its ongoing investigation into the vandalism. It says here, they're quoted as saying, regardless of the context surrounding its message, this is also property damage, a crime encountered fairly regularly. And that's as far as the media relations officer went. But as you can see, there is another element to this crime. It isn't just straight up vandalism. As you can see, it says they not the brightest vandals, since they can't spell Zionist. They spelled it Z or Z, depending on whether you're American or Canadian. O-I-N-S-T. Zoinst. I shouldn't laugh, but I can't help it. I mean, zoinst. They made a new word. If, maybe that would get them an acquittal in a court of law if accused of a hate crime. Because they spelled it zoinst. Oh, what a bunch of idiots. Stupid to do it in the first place, and so stupid they can't even spell their graffiti properly. Zoinst. Oh my God. Oh, well, at least I got a chuckle out of it. I hope you did too. Oh, man. Oh, here's another image. Soinst. Same city, same problem. Different location, save Gaza on that side. Zoinst. Just. Zoinst. I could have had a V8. Speaking of V8s, gonna miss those when they're gone, like 2030 in Canada. People are missing them already, apparently. In fact, let me just show you what I'm talking about here. All right. Rimac, producer of ultra high performance sports cars like the Navara. They are veering away from electric vehicle production because they say their customers want old-fashioned, traditional, gasoline-powered supercars. So what you're looking at here is the Navara. It was unveiled back in 2021, still producing them, limited to 150 units. 1,914 horsepower in front of you. 2/3 of the planned production run remains available if you have the cash for something like that. But what they're saying is that their customers are losing their fascination with electric vehicles or even electric gasoline hybrid technology. Electrification is legally mandated across Europe, and nearly every company, regardless of market positioning, offers at least one EV. But the folks at Rimac are saying that even these high-end cars, their customers really want gasoline. So they're still committed to electrification. They have to be because it's all being mandated. But demand for the vehicles is in decline. Much more difficult to sell than they were even a year ago. And they're saying so. So that's the Navara. Now, an icon, an automotive icon, the Chevy Malibu is being discontinued. Here, run a little bit of footage for you. There you go, Chevy Malibu. I'm sure you're all familiar with them. This is a mid-size sedan, but the market for sedans is also on the decline. As a result, Chevrolet is discontinuing production after 60 years. They're gonna do away with one of the most popular, most successful nameplates in automotive history, the Chevy Malibu. It's come in many sizes and shapes, some of them high performance, sometimes family cars. It's the last sedan still sold by Chevrolet, by General Motors. Malibu production will end in November. The factory in Fairfax, The Fairfax assembly plant in Kansas City is being reconfigured and will build a new generation of the Chevrolet Bolt electric vehicle. So as a result, Chevrolet will end up selling only trucks, SUVs, and the Corvette. Goodbye, Malibu. I've seen so many Malibus over the years. How many of those things have they sold? The Malibu was introduced back in the 1960s. It was sort of a more luxurious version of the Chevelle. It was called, initially the Chevelle Malibu, and by the 70s, it had become its own distinct model. The Malibu model line ended production in 1983, but then they brought it back in 97, and it's been in production ever since then. But traditional cars, vehicles that are not SUVs, trucks or vans, they only make up now about 20% of sales in the United States and Canada. That according to data from Cox Automotive. The last generation of the Chevy Malibu was first introduced in 2016. It has, competition, pretty stiff competition from vehicles like the Honda Accord, the Toyota Camry. A new version of the Camry is available only as a hybrid. It just went into production. Now, GM sold more than 130,000 Malibus last year, up 13% from the year before, but they say the writing is on the wall. The future for that kind of car does not look bright, so they are shifting production. And one of the main reasons the future doesn't look bright for a vehicle like the Malibu is because the government is mandating full electrification. And so you combine that with declining interest in mid-sized sedans, and it's more profitable for a variety of reasons to go and produce these other kinds of vehicles like the Chevy Bolt. They're going to produce more than one vehicle on that assembly line, so it'll be a flex line, which will allow the company to adjust production to meet specific market demands, whatever they may end up being in the years ahead. The other reason they're ending production of the Malibu is that even though they sold more Malibus last year, a lot of those vehicles were sold to rental fleets. And when you're selling in bulk like that to rental fleets, the profit margin is much less. So they weren't making as much per unit on them as they would like to. All that being said, I kind of wonder about the logic still being employed here, because when I look at what's going on with electric vehicle sales and profit margins on those, every company, as it stands right now, even with all the government subsidies in place, they are losing money producing and trying to sell these electric vehicles. And demand is declining, even as they're trying to increase production and force this on the public using, basically government mandates and regulations to force production on the supply side and to entice consumers to buy them on the other side with subsidies and outright grants as well, depending on where you're living, tax breaks to go out and buy these things. But even the rental companies are complaining. There are companies like Hertz getting out of vehicles like Teslas because the repair costs for them have ended up being much higher than initially anticipated. As a result, the rental companies have kind of taken a bath on these electric cars and specifically Teslas because so many of those were sold to rental companies. It's just not working out. It's the bottom line for the rental companies, the auto manufacturers, and ultimately the public. And if it doesn't work out, ladies and gentlemen, we are in for a heap of hurting because so much tax money has been dumped into the electrification of the auto industry. Don't go away. I'll be back on the other side of this.
Hello, world. Are you awake? Uniting humankind by liberating millions of minds at a time. Maverick News. The world is watching. Maverick News. Fighting for freedom.
Zoinst! Oh, jeez. Zoinst! I sure don't like those pesky zointinists. Oh, man, I'll tell you. Yeah, I never know what's going to come the next day. That just made my night. Zoinst. Remember that gold heist at Pearson International Airport? Well, they made another arrest. Yes, they did. Pretty big story at the time, still a big story. They've got another suspect in custody. It was last year, a former Air Canada employee, also involved in the scheme. Well, they're still looking for that person. So there may be another arrest coming when they finally figure out where this other suspect went. So police have issued a new media release, and they say that Archit Grover, he's a 36-year-old man from Brampton, has been arrested. He was arrested May 6th, taken into custody after he flew into Toronto from India and was arrested for theft over $5,000 and conspiracy to commit an indictable offense. Grover is also being indicted in the United States for firearm-related charges, according to police. Peel Regional Police identified and charged or issued warrants for 10 individuals, laying over 21 charges last month in connection with this gigantic gold heist at Pearson International Airport, which for a time really perplexed people. People wondered how they ever pulled it off. It was on April 17th of 2023. A flight landed at Pearson Airport from Zurich, Switzerland. They had 6,600 gold bars of 99.9% purity on board. They weighed more than 400 kilograms. The total value, according to police, $20 million, along with $2.5 million in Canadian value in foreign currency. So shortly after the plane landed, a suspect shows up in a 5-ton delivery truck at the cargo facility for Air Canada. He obtained the valuable freight by showing a fake air waybill to a warehouse attendant, according to investigators. Then along comes a forklift, loads the stolen gold and currency into the back of the truck. The suspect then drives off with the loot. This just before 3 a.m., Air Canada employees report that this cargo is missing, and police launch an investigation. So then, all of this unfolds, and we get Canada-wide arrest warrants issued. And we still have outstanding issues for 4 suspects, including a Simranpreet Panesar, a 31-year-old who was working for Air Canada back when this happened. And police say he is wanted for theft over $5,000, conspiracy to commit an indictable offense. They're also looking for Arsalan Chowdhury, a 42-year-old man, no fixed address, and Durante King McLean, a 25-year-old man. He's from Brampton. Same offenses. And then they have 2 counts of possession of property obtained by crime also on the list for Chowdhury. Durante King McLean, a 25-year-old man from Brampton, is currently in U.S. custody on firearms trafficking-related charges. Police here in Canada say they have reached out to him. They've been in touch with him through his lawyer, and I guess probably talking to both the accused and the accused's lawyer. So still more to come on that. That's a lot. That's a huge gold heist, man. Wicked. Okay, let's tell you what else we have here tonight. We have, should we get to the Justin Bieber? The Bieber story? What can I tell you? The Beeb. He's having a baby with his wife. Man, I am getting so old because to me, Justin Bieber is still a baby himself. Now he's having a Bieber baby. And he posts this stuff online. Here, let me see if I can get past some of this. Okay, let me show you some pics that Justin Bieber posted with his main babe, who's having a Bieber baby with him. This is Bieber and his babe, and their pre-baby Bieber baby pics. There you go. This is actually off Twitter, but same pics that they posted over on Instagram, where they made the official Bieber baby announcement. I don't know. Justin Bieber makes me chuckle. We have a video out too. I'm not going to run the video. Probably get hit with a copyright strike on it. The photos will have to be enough, folks, to satisfy your curiosity here if you want to see more. I'm sure the video is not hard to find on Justin Bieber's social media platforms. So you can go and check that out if you want to. But here he is, the Biebs. Oh, there he is being a professional photographer. Biebs. Bieber baby. That prompted me, and I was like, I don't really follow Justin Bieber, but I kind of remembered that, didn't he have a song out that was called Baby? So, of course, I had to go look it up. And I found this, he was only 15 years old when the song Baby came out. See if I can find it here again. Maybe I didn't queue it up here. I'll find it. Justin Bieber. Yeah, he was 15 years old. I thought we'd pull up the lyrics to Justin Bieber's Baby song. And then I thought maybe we could explore the poetry in it together. Here it is. And this is why he's so rich, because he's a genius. Let's listen. When I was in high school, I had this fantastic English teacher, and he introduced us to Shakespeare, the classics, right? Some of them. as much as we could. Fantastic teacher, one of the best teachers I ever had. But what he would do sometimes is he would get out the lyrics to Beatles songs, and he would just read them. And that read just like it's poetry. Just great stuff. So I thought we'd put Justin Bieber to the same test here tonight. Mr. Beatty, if you are watching, sir, this is for you. Okay? And I hope this does you justice. These are the lyrics to Baby, Justin Bieber's song Baby. He is the lyricist, he's also the composer, and here it is, the poetic version. Just me reading the lyrics. Ooh, whoa. Ooh, whoa. Ooh, whoa. You know you love me. I know you care. Just shout whenever, and I'll be there. You are my love, you are my heart, and we would never, ever, ever be apart. Are we an item? Girl, quit playing. We're just friends. What are you saying? Said there's another. Look right in my eyes. My first love broke my heart for the first time. And I was like, baby, 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 ooh. Like, baby, 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 no. Like, baby, 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 ooh. I thought you'd always be mine. Baby, 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 ooh. Like, baby, 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 no. Like, baby, 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 ooh. I thought you'd always be mine. Mine. Oh, for you, I would have done whatever. And I just can't believe we ain't together. And I want to play it cool, but I'm losing you. I'll buy you anything. I'll buy you any ring. And I'm in pieces. Baby, fix me. Just shake me till you wake me from this bad dream. I'm going down, 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 down. And I just can't believe my first love won't be around. And I was like, baby, 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 ooh. Like, baby, 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 no. Like, baby, 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 no. Like, baby, 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 ooh. I thought you'd always be mine. Mine. Baby, 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 ooh. Like, baby, 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 no. Like, baby, 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 ooh. I thought you'd always be mine. Mine. Ludicrous, Luda. When I was 13, I had my first love. There was nobody that could compare to my baby. And nobody came between us. No one could ever come above. She had me going crazy. Oh, I was starstruck. She woke me up daily. Don't need no Starbucks. She made my heart pound and skip a beat when I see her in the streets. And at school, on the playground. But I really want to see her on the weekend. She knows she's got me dazing, 'cause she was so amazing. And now my heart is breaking, but I just keep on saying, baby, 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 ooh. Like, baby, 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 no. Like, baby, baby, ooh. I thought you'd always be mine, mine. Baby, 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 ooh. Like, baby, 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 no. Like, baby, 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 ooh. I thought you'd always be mine. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, I'm all gone. Yeah, 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 yeah. Now I'm all gone. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Now I'm all gone, 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 gone. I'm gone.
The New World Order. Government overreach. The Great Reset. Mainstream media lies. Now more than ever, independent voices are needed. Donate now at freedomreporters.com. That's freedomreporters.com. Maverick News. The antivirus program for your mind.
Okay, so John, he did donate, and I was speaking to him, and I sent him some of these Batmobiles. I've been telling everybody about anybody that donates $60 or more can send you a hoodie, right? Like this, or I can send you an embroidered shirt, kind of like this one here, except I'm wearing my other shirt tonight. Right. Anyway, and if you order one of those embroidered shirts, I'll send you one of these Batmobiles. I've got a variety of different ones. They're all Batmobiles, though. This one's from the animated series. We also have, like, the Val Kilmer style, Batman Forever, a few different Batmobiles. 1/64 scale Hot Wheels Batmobile die cast. I'll send you one along with the shirt if you donate. Happy to do that. So John donated, and I sent him a couple of these Batmobiles, and we got into a conversation about it. And I was telling him that I've been very privileged, very lucky over the years because of my automotive show, right? The SST car show. To be able to actually sit in some actual Batmobiles. And I also shared with him this story about meeting George Barris, the designer and builder of the 1960s Batmobile, which is actually I think it's super cool. You know, this is the Batmobile that was used in the television series in the 1960s with Adam West and Burt Ward, and I have that interview with George Barris queued up here. I met George Barris quite a number of times. I thought I'd share it with you here tonight because we've been giving away these Batmobiles to people who donate and pick up these embroidered shirts, like this one. You can have one of these SST shirts if you donate at freedomreporters.com. Here, I'll put it up on the screen. freedomreporters.com. That's the easiest way to do it. You can also donate at maverickdonations.com. And you might get one of these Batmobiles while supplies last. But I thought it was a great time to just cue up this old interview that I did with George Barris, who passed away a number of years ago now. Well, about 4 or 5, maybe 6 years ago now. Probably about 5 years ago he passed away. But always fun when I was able to connect with him. We did a number of interviews. The first time I met him was at the Volo Automotive Museum near Chicago. Very cool place. The place is full of movie cars. And they were very gracious and allowed us to go in there and shoot a bunch of material, video, when we visited there a couple of times. And that's where I met George Barris the first time. Now, this particular interview was done at the Steve Plunkett Estate in London, Ontario, where they used to do a fantastic automotive event called the Fleetwood Country Cruise-In. George Barris became an annual guest there. And there were some tribute vehicles on display. Let's just go to the interview, and I'm just going to let George speak for himself. And he talks about the beauty and the allure of collectible die-cast cars, talks about how it allows everyone to enjoy the magic of movie cars, regardless of your budget. So what's this behind me, you say? The Munsters coach? Well, not quite. It's actually a tribute vehicle, a Munsters coach tribute, and it's owned by Arnold and Karen Robbins of Waynfleet, Ontario. Now this thing is pretty accurate. They've done a really good job of reproducing the original Munsters coach from the original television series. There were actually several Munsters coach vehicles. Some were shown in the television program, and there were more made for promotional purposes, and even today those vehicles travel around to car shows. But this car is not one of them. However, it was signed by George Barris, who's walking right there. Shoot him, shoot him, shoot George Barris. There he is, the man who built the original Munsters coach. There he is. There he is. George, what do you think of this Munsters coach?
They do a craftsman job as much as they could to make it look like the Munsters. The main thing is it's a part of what somebody in Canada can do with the Munster coach. Gives you an idea of our movie and TV cars in USA into Canada. Makes it a worldwide personality.
It is, thanks to you. Because George is the guy who built the original Munsters coach and the Batmobile and many other movie cars.
And the Munsters and the Beverly Hillbillies and the Knight Rider and the Dukes of Hazzard.
They're all available today as diecast.
That's right. So everybody can even own a diecast version of all those cars.
Yeah, they can have it in all kinds of voice.
That's right. Thank you very much, George.
That shows you what a personal person can do with their old car that they can drive.
That's right. And all the inspiration came from this guy right here, the king of customizers.
Thank you again, all.
Thank you very much, George. Our privilege. Thank you so much.
Hey, see you all later.
So check out the detail on this thing. I mean, the air breather up here, very close to the original. I mean, it's not exactly the same, but very close. And if you're not sure how close this thing is, all you have to do is look at one of those diecast cars that George mentioned. There's one right there, 1/18th scale, Munsters coach in diecast. All the detail is right there. You can look at that thing and compare all the detail on this, and you can see how good this thing is. From the red interior, which is not crushed velvet, it's a different kind of material, but really, I mean, it's very close. Wrought iron stepping plates, the paint, of course, and the gold trim, the wood steering wheel, the coach lights, and of course, the signature setting the whole thing off from the king of customizers himself, whom you just heard from, George Barris, right there. George Barris. Those are the days, not so long ago, the before times. Folks, we're going to wrap it up right there, because you can't top that. But I will be back tomorrow night. Love you guys. Thank you so much for your support. Thanks for your thoughts and support for Dragon tonight. Great job, Dragon. Tough gig, man, out there dealing with that. And thank you, George Barris, for being so gracious. And thanks for all those great memories. They live on. I will see you guys back here tomorrow night. Same time, same channel. On the flip side.
This has been a Maverick Multimedia production.